Hello, welcome back to Good Work Now. I'm Dr. Brian Moffitt. One of our crew members, Bobby Waldo, was playing with this Rubik's Cube just a few seconds ago, and it inspired me to use this as the opening of the show. I have never been successful with the Rubik's Cube, but I think it requires some degree of intelligence to do this, and maybe I have just average intelligence, which is fine with me, it's good enough. But there's another factor too. When you're doing a Rubik's Cube, there may be a level of frustration, a level of anger, a level of fear that you're not good enough or something like that. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's not just the intelligence stuff that we've all heard about, like IQ scores and our capacity to learn, but it's about the emotions that we have, being aware of them, and how do we manage them so we can be happy and successful in our work and personal lives. I am very pleased to welcome to our show today Dr. Mitchel Adler. He is a licensed clinical psychologist, creator of Mind-Body Intelligence, MBI, and director of Mind-Body Intelligence Consulting based in Davis, California, where he also has a psychotherapy practice for individuals and groups. And he's co-author of the book, Promoting Intelligence in Organizations, and I'll put the information up on the screen. And welcome, Mitchel, to the show. I'm so glad you could be here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start, Mitchel, with the first area. What is emotional intelligence, or EI?
Yes, it's a good question. And like most things, it's both incredibly simple and very complex. It's a dialectic between the two. So the simple one I'll give you first.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence is the ability to make healthy, adaptive choices based on being able to identify, understand, and manage our own emotions and the emotions of others.
Okay.
That's the nice, simple definition.
Okay.
The more complex definition, that comes a little bit more, which talks about emotional intelligence as 4 different domains of intelligence.
Okay.
And within those 4 domains, there are 19 competencies.
Wow.
Yes. So I can just give you the 4.
Let's go with the 4 domains. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to get into the 19
exactly.
today.
That's another show.
That's another show, exactly. So the 4 competencies are self-awareness.
Okay.
And I can go through each one of them kind of briefly.
Okay.
But it's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social skills.
Okay.
Those are your 4 basic domains.
Okay, so let's an example of the first one, self-awareness. Okay. What might that be?
So self-awareness is about knowing our own internal states.
Okay.
It's understanding our emotions. For instance, most people don't realize this, but we have actually 4 basic emotions. There's some research out there that says there are 5 or the 6, but the good research that I've read is really about 4.
Okay.
And the 4 basic emotions are mad, sad, glad, and scared.
Okay.
And if you pretty much know that, then you can slowly learn to understand your own emotional world, because all of our emotions fall within a continuum of each of those emotions, or they're combinations of one or more of those
exactly,
emotions.
like jealousy, for example. It's probably some sad, some mad, and maybe a little scared.
Exactly. That's a great example.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the second domain? An example of the second domain?
The second domain would be self-management.
Okay.
This is our ability to manage our own internal resources and to manage our impulses. So it helps us to be able to be adaptable in different environments. That's a competency. The ability to have self-control.
Okay.
The ability to be able to have initiative and follow up on activities that you think you want to do, you actually do them.
Okay.
So folks high in that competency, and things like achievement drive.
Oh, okay. And so there may be some folks out there who are concerned about their impulsiveness, for example, and being aware that, oh, when I get this emotion, I tend to act this way very quickly.
That's right. Okay. So folks who are high in that competency recognize in advance, oh, I react in this kind of environment a certain way. So I know what my triggers are, and they can learn how to self-soothe and then be able to communicate what they need in an effective manner, as opposed to just exploding or internalizing or avoiding.
Okay. And then the third domain?
The third domain would be social awareness. Now this is one's ability to be aware of others' needs, feelings, and concerns.
Okay.
And things like empathy, which is the foundation of social awareness, the ability to experience someone else's feelings.
And I think also, too, maybe most folks can probably sense there's a tension in the room, like the elephant that no one's talking about.
Exactly.
You know, so folks with this competency probably can sense that energy.
That's right. And they can be aware of it, and then they can actually name it at the right time.
Right.
Because timing is everything.
So that relates to the prior domain, managing it. So maybe you're sensing there's an elephant in the room, but maybe now is not the right time to put it on the table.
Exactly.
Or label it or name it.
Perfect.
And then the fourth one.
The fourth one is social skills,
Okay.
which is really about the ability to have influence, the ability to induce desirable behaviors in others. This is leadership, this is conflict management, this is communication strategies, and the ability to build teams and collaborations within teams so that you can work together to reach a certain goal.
Okay.
The reason why it's effective is because it can be learned. As opposed to something like IQ, which is a stable trait along the lifespan. It's very difficult to raise someone's IQ.
Okay.
You can actually improve someone's emotional intelligence with training. That bottom line factors like productivity was increased as a result of the training, decreased absenteeism, decreased workers' grievances, workers' compensation, and decrease in health problems.
What's some ways that people can learn emotional intelligence?
Well, some of the best ways to teach emotional intelligence is by experience.
Okay.
So it's very good to offer people didactic information, but they have to be able to use the information in an experiential way. But a great technique that they can use is called the subjective state of being scale, a SOBS scale. It's a scale from 1 to 100.
Okay.
Yeah, SOBS is a kind of funny thing. It sounds kind
Another
of sad.
acronym.
Yeah, it sounds kind of sad too. But subjective state of being, the operative term here is subjective. It's a scale from 1 to 100. Where we have people think about how they're feeling in the current moment, like right this minute. So when I give a talk or I give a workshop, I'll have people do this right off the bat because it's such a good self-awareness tool. Here's the way the scale is organized. Number 1, on a scale of 1 to 100, 1 is the most relaxed and calm you've ever been. It could be for some sitting in Hawaii, enjoying a Mai Tai, watching the waves come in with their partner of choice and feel just very relaxed and good. 100 is the most stressed out you could ever be in your life. It's jumping out of an airplane and realizing you don't have a parachute. I mean, we're talking about super stressed, right? And a 50 is our baseline. It's how we are on a general daily basis.
Okay.
Now, most people don't know what those numbers are for themselves. They don't know what their 50 is. We want people to know what their number is.
Exactly.
So I'll ask someone, what is your number right now? And oftentimes they'll give me a number like, oh, I'm a 25 or I'm a 85 or 95. And I'll help them raise some awareness. I'm like, what makes you think you're an 85? How are you getting this data? And they have to check in with themselves.
Exactly.
Because how do we get the data? We have to look at our body. What's happening physiologically inside of us? What are we saying to ourselves? What are our thoughts or cognitions? And how are we feeling emotionally? And those are the data points that they are having to glean from their mind-body system in order to get this number. And it's helping them to do that. So I encourage people to do that at least 3 times a day.
Okay.
And what I like to teach is the difference between a dialogue and a debate, which for a lot of folks, I think they really don't grasp. Most of the time when people are trying to communicate with one another, they're trying to prove their point. And we think that by proving our point, then we get respect because, hey, I made my point. But actually what most people are interested in is a dialogue. And I'll try to give you maybe a sense of what the difference is between the two. Okay. In a debate, we're trying to win our argument. We have a paradigm that's set up, and the paradigm is this. There's a right or wrong. I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
I'm going to prove that I'm right, and I'm going to prove that you are wrong. In a dialogue, we focus on a similar and different paradigm, where I have a different perspective from you, and I'm going to try to share my perspective, and I really want to understand what your perspective is.
Exactly.
Because in a dialogue, we can actually learn some solution that we never could have imagined could have been present if we were just fighting for our one point of view.
Exactly. It seems like with dialogue, it's more of an exploration. It's more of an adventure.
That's right.
Whereas with debate, it's kind of a hollow victory.
It can
in
be,
a
that's
way.
right.
Where there's so much more learning and understanding that can come through a dialogue process. Mitchell, I want to thank you so much for this very invigorating conversation about emotional intelligence. And next time, we're going to be talking about toxic coworkers. So today's show was a really good foundation in terms of understanding emotions, our emotions, and how we manage them in the workplace. And now next week we're going to talk about how to use some of those skills in terms of dealing with what you perceive to be toxic coworkers in your environment. And until then, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for watching.